Hoi there, Growlmantlers, Dan from GameReviewsAU. Yeah, I'm going to be showing you Forspoken today, an underspoken and underappreciated title. So I had heard a lot about the things that people didn't like before I started playing it. The main thing that I did pick up on was the fact that people didn't like the voice acting. The lines were really cheesy, and I will tell you why and why I don't mind it, but eventually. So what I did from the very beginning is I changed the voice language to Japanese, because I like, anime with Japanese voice and English subs. And playing it like that, I didn't mind the voice acting. I really quite dislike American voice acting in Japanese games. I'd rather hear the Japanese. But this time it is natively English, the voice language. But I thought I'm going to go to Japanese, see how it goes. And I never had one single problem with the voice. The dialogue, yes, there was some cheesiness to it. But as I said, I didn't mind that because it kind of makes sense. You're a girl from modern day, slums sort of upbringing, and she gets thrown into this fantasy world. Of course, if you're a smartass in the modern world, why aren't you going to be a smartass in the fantasy world? You can say whatever the hell you want. But the reason I think this game is underappreciated is because of all of the bad hype that it is getting. If you actually give it a chance and play it, you'll find that it's quite... I might get a lot of hate for this, but it has a similar vibe to Elden Ring. That's what I felt. The fantasy world, it was very Elden Ring-esque, quite open, and there are big boss monsters that you can try and take on if you're strong enough. So there's that challenge there if ever you want to approach it. There is the main storyline to follow. There are little sub things to do. You can explore the world, find chests and whatnot. And yeah, I think one of the other things that people didn't like was the way you get around the world. And it's kind of like it's on foot, and you do it with parkour, and you can hold down a button to make yourself go faster, but only for a certain amount of time. That is kind of lame, but it looks cool. And similar with Elden Ring getting the horse thingy, that was quite hard to get around on, I found. It getting through small areas, doing small jumps, it made things quite tricky to handle. And but in Forspoken you've got that parkour sort of auto traverse, auto climb option there, and I appreciated that. It made it feel quite fast paced, and it was because of that I felt the traveling wasn't that bad. The way that you travel around it kind of felt cool. The combat is kind of strange. It is very basic. You just have one attack basically, but then you have different spells that you can customize and utilize. Excuse me. And I feel that is probably where the game is a bit weak. The combat. It does allow for customization, but it still doesn't feel like you have made it. You've tweaked it to how you want it. It is different. You will be able to use different spells and so on and so forth, but it in the end, it all feels very similar. All the combat is kind of samey. The monsters that you come across, pretty cool. Yeah, they're quite easy to deal with towards the beginning, but then the big boss monsters, yeah, you're going to have to learn their attack patterns and work out how to get around it and take them down. The storyline itself is very basic. Person gets transported to fantasy world. Person in fantasy world is trying to work out how to get home, but in the meantime gets caught up in the fantasy world's politics and their own qualms and worries and whatnot. And so you're kind of like the savior person, but people hate you, some people love you. so on and so forth. I feel that Forspoken, it gets a bad rap for no good reason. I feel it also, it triggered a lot of people who are against being inclusive when it comes to, people of different color skin being the protagonist. I mean, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, why did people not hate on that? Why is it now that because she is a dark-skinned female leading this game that people are like, stupid inclusion crap? I don't mind it. The main protagonist can be whoever the hell they want. When you create your own character in a game, they can be whatever skin color you want, they can have whatever color hair, they can be trans, they can be anything. It doesn't matter. What about all the Final Fantasy games where they have a pretty boy as the protagonist? Huh? I had no problem with that. I'm sure lots of people didn't also, so yeah. Forspoken on PS5, it's a very beautiful game. It is going to provide enough of a challenge for you to be challenged by it, and I feel it brings its own its own flavor to the world of gaming, and I kind of like it. So I'm going to be giving Forspoken on PS5 4 out of 5 stars. If you like this review, please hit the thumbs up button down below. Remember to subscribe to my channel, and if you choose to do so, leave a comment down below. Read my Patreon page too. Find out more about GameReviewsAU and consider pledging a few bucks. Thanks for joining me. I will see you next time.
なんとかしないと。
死角から近づけばチャンスはある。人混みに紛れろ。
分かってる。紛れるから黙っててよ。だがお前の願いは聞き入れぬ。お前の娘は侵入者をかくまったのだ。しかもそれどころか、あの女の居場所についても口を閉ざしている。